Okay, this is going to be video 3, which will be the first part of module 2 of the digital SAT practice test 2. And number 1 question is 20% of the 55 students surveyed, they intend to enroll in the study program. So these are the type of questions you guys need to find in the SAT and answer them quickly because they are easy. We just need to know 20% of 55. So we multiply 55 times 0.2, and since you are going to be able to use the calculator on both sections of the SAT, that's going to be equal to 11. So your answer is A. Let me see number 2. Jay walks at a speed of 3 miles. So walking is 3 miles. So 3 for walking plus he's going to run at a speed of 5 miles. So 5 miles for the run. And he's going to be walking for W hours and run for R hours. We already have the W and the R. For a combined total, so equals of 14 miles. That's all I did. I translated the English sentence into a math, and look, the answer is A, is exactly what it is. So these tests are easier than the EOC, so you should take advantage of them. Now, look at this graph. What do you notice? What is the slope of this line? It's positive. What is the y-intercept? It's also positive. So let's eliminate the negative slopes. That's a negative slope. That's a negative slope, negative 1.7. And C has a negative y-intercept. So the only one that has a positive slope, 1.7, and a positive y-intercept of 2.8, is A. So that's it. You see how quickly this can be, and you don't have to answer a perfect score unless you want a perfect score, but what we want to do is get like 600 out of 800, and it can be done. My students have done it. Okay, so I'm gonna I am going to erase. So pause your video now as I erase, and then we can continue going. Okay, next page. We have a graph. Okay, so what is the value when x is 0 right here? So when x is 0, the value of my graph on the y-axis is right here at number 3. So when x is 0, y is 3. That would be your choice D. Of course, this is going to be a digital question. It's going to be on the computer, but these are the type of questions you're going to see. Talk about the median, what we're learning today. They give you the data, is already in order, so I'm going to go from the outside in, as I showed you before. See if I have one number or two in the middle. If you notice, there's a number. The number in the middle of the data, look, is an SAT question. Very simple. What is the median of the data shown? You don't have a multiple choice, so you have to type 79. But see how important it is. X plus 40 equals 95. You know we have to subtract 40 from both sides, so 95. When we take away 40, how much is it? We get that X is equal to 55, because 55 plus 40 is 95. Hey. So number 8. Let me. You guys can pause so I can erase. Okay. Number 8. Then I'll do 5. 5x is equal to 15. So that means that x is equal to 3, because 3 times 5 is 15. So let me substitute 3 for x in the second equation to find y. So negative 12 plus y equals negative 2. Adding 12 to both sides. And y is 10. Now, they're asking, careful with the question, it says, what is the value of x plus y? So now that we found xy to be 3 and 10, they want you to just to make sure you're reading the question, well, what is the value of x plus y? That would be 3 plus 10 is x plus y. So that is equal to 13, which is choice C for you guys. Okay, now multiplying bases with the same letter and different exponents. Whenever you see not an exponent with an m, assume it's a number 1. So it's m to the first. So if I multiply m to the 4 times m to the 1 times q to the 4 times q to the 5 times z to the negative 1 times z to the 3, all we have to do is keep the base. Each base we're going to keep one m, one q, and one z, and we're going to simply add the exponent. So this is m to the 5th, and you already can see that there's only one answer that has m to the 5th, answer B, but let's continue. Q to the power of 4 plus 5, which is 9. And then z would be 3 minus 1. It's a positive 3 minus 1 is z to the second, and that is exactly m5 q9 z2 z squared is exactly what B is. So notice how quickly we already went through 8 questions, and you guys can all do this, no doubt. All right, so pause while I erase. Then you can continue. All right, so number 9 says that the function models the number of gallons of gasoline that remains from a full gas. If you notice, the slope here is negative, so that means that we're going to be subtracting from a full gallon of 12.1. So this is the full tank. Not a full gallon, but a full tank of 12 gallons, 12.1. So then that means that 0.05 m is going to be, for each mile, you're going to be spending 0.05 gallons of gas, or about 20 miles a gallon. That makes sense. Okay. So that's 9. Okay, so here we have y equals. So we're going to substitute what y is, and we're going to write it on the top. So we're going to say x squared on the top equation minus 5 is equal to 76. Let's add 5, sorry. So x squared is equal to 81. How do we solve for x when x has a square? We need to take the square root of x, because as the opposite of the square is the square root, equals, we have to do it on the right too, the positive or the negative root of 81. So the square root of 81 is 9, so x is equal to either positive 9 times 9 is 81. So either positive 9 or negative 9. Which ones do we have here? What we have here is the negative 9. So your answer is going to be choice B. Okay, also erasing again. And moving on to 10 and 12. All right. Thank you guys for your cooperation in staying quiet. All right. So what we have here is a proportion. So I'm going to cross multiply like that. You know this. So that means that 1 times y is 1y is equal to 11x times 7b. So 1 times y is y, and that's equal to 11 times 7 is 77, right? And b times x times b, let's have it in alpha order, is going to be bx. So now it says to solve for x. The question is asking us to solve for x. So we need to isolate this variable. That means that we need to divide both sides by 77b. And so when we do, this will 2 cancel into a 1x, and that's going to be equal to y over 77b. You guys can do this. I know it has more letters, but it's the same functions we have been doing, divide or multiply. And so do I have an answer like that? Yes, choice C says y over 77b. Now we have a point x53 for number 12, x and 53. 53 is the y value, we need to find the x value. So I have a system of equations here that says y is greater than 14 and 4x plus y is less than 18. So I'm going to substitute 53 for y because that is the same value, 53. So 53 is greater than 14. If you see that, that is correct. So now I need to find the value of x, such as 4x plus y plus 53, or y is less than 18. So let's take away 53 from each side, and we're going to have that 4x has to be less than negative 35. So what's the next step? Divide by 4 to solve for x. Divide by 4, divide by 4. And x has to be less than negative 8.75. Which number is less than that? 9 is not less than a negative number. 5 is not less than a negative number. Negative 5 is not less than negative 8. So it has to be negative 9. It has to be to the left of negative 8.75 on the number line. So that's your answer. One more page to go. You guys can pause while I erase. And then we continue. Okay, next is, again, 80% of 300. So we convert 80% into a decimal, which is 0.8. It has to be less than 300 because it's not 100%. It's 80. 3 times 8 is 24. So the answer here is 240. That's it. You're done. Easy question. Do the easy first so you have time for the ones later. Okay, the function f is defined by f of x is equal to 4x. And f of x is also 8. So I'm going to substitute 8 in here because it's the same as f of x. So 8 is equal to 4x. Divide both sides by 4. You see this is not difficult. And x is equal to 2. So x, 2 is equal to x, or x is equal to 2. The answer is 2. That's the number you have to type or click or select. All right. Now, line P is 2y plus 18x equal to 9, and line R is perpendicular. So, perpendicular lines have inverse opposite slopes. So, if you have 2/3 x as a slope, a perpendicular line will be, we have to flip the fraction. So like 3/2, and we also have to change the sign. Because perpendicular lines have to go, one has to be positive, the other one has to be negative to be perpendicular lines like that. So let's find out the value of the slope here by solving for y. And the slope is the one that's the number in front of the x. So we have 2y is equal to negative 18x plus 9 dividing by 2, and now we have solved for y, so we have the slope is negative 9 over 1 x plus 9 over 2. We don't need to worry about that 9 over 2. All I care is I need now to find the opposite sign reciprocal of 9 over 1. That should be, let's flip the fraction, is going to be 1 over 9. And let's change the sign from negative to positive. So be careful with the choices because you have a negative, you have 9s, they're all similar. But the right answer is 1 over 9, and you double check. When we move the x's to the right, they become negative. Divided by a positive 2 is negative 9 over 1. So the reciprocal has to be a positive slope, 1 over 9. We don't count the x, so there's no x's on the answers there. All right, 2 more questions to go. pause the video so you can erase. I mean, I can erase and you can continue to copy while you pause the video. And then the last two questions are 15 and 17, and all we have to do is one more video to finish the series of 4 videos and to finish the test practice digital SAT number 2. So there are different test practices. This is version 2 of the practice test. Okay, if you look at this, we can factor an x minus 7. If I pull an x minus 7 out from the numerator and I take that out, because I already have it here, I am left with 8x and a negative 3. So I'm going to write those inside a parenthesis, 8x minus 3. Okay. Now the bottom, it says, the bottom it says 2x, that's the bottom, it says 2x minus 14. So I'm going to factor a 2. After I take a 2, I'm going to be left with x and negative, and 14 divided by 2 will be 7. So over here I have 2 times x minus 7. Look for factors on the numerator that can cancel with factors in the denominator, and we have this canceling with that. So what I am left with is simply 8x minus 3 over 2. Choice B. All right, so we just need to remember a little factoring. What is it that we do with that? And if you guys have questions about that, I can explain to you outside of this video. Okay, so last question, number 17. When we graph something, usually, as you know, the x-axis begins at 0. But that beginning year corresponds to, in this case, the year 1998. So 1998 is 0. We have to be aware of that. 1 would be 1999 and so on. So we just have to make that comparison or equivalency. So the function f of t, right? So in this case, we're going to go with f of 0, because 0 is the first year and they're asking questions about the y-intercept. So we need x to be 0 for the y-intercept. So when x or t is 0, that's going to be equal to 8,000 times 0.65 to the power of 0, because t is my x. So x is the same as t here, the time. So we need to make sure that that's the comparison. So to find the y-intercept, I have to let t equal 0, which I have right here and right here, but I also have it here. That's a t exponent. So I have a 0 exponent. Now, do not forget that when you have the parenthesis 0.65 raised to the 0 power, that doesn't turn into a 0. What does it turn into? It turns into a 1. So this is going to be equal to 8,000 times 1, because 0.65 to the 0 is 1. Like anything to the 0 power is 1. So 8,000 times 1 is 8,000. So my y-intercept is going to be over here. It's going to be 8,000. All right, so that's where the graph begins. And because this is decreasing, you know, my graph is going to look something like this. But that doesn't even matter, because we have to see the y-intercept. What does it mean? And during the 5 years, the y-intercept is only in 1998. So nothing to do with 5 years. Nothing to do during the 5 years. No, it's only at the beginning when x is 0 or t is 0. At the end of 1998 was 1428. No, because it was 8,000. So D, the estimated number of coupons the company sent to the customers at the end of 1998, that's 0, was 8,000. So right here we have 0 and 8,000. So when the first year is 0, or 1998, my value for y, the y-intercept is 8,000. So that's what it means. It means that at the end of the year 1998, they must have sent 8,000 coupons to their customers. And that's how we solve that. And so see you in the next video.